J, and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already, make sure to like, subscribe, and give me a follow on Facebook. Today, we're going to be reading Circumference Gets Decima's Point by Cindy Neuschwander. Let's get into it. It's nearly sunrise, said Bart Graff, the baker, stoking the oven. His business partner, Pia of Chartre, yawned. Let's bake Crème de la Crumb today. Free! Crash! Before Pia can finish her sentence, a large, hairy beast wrenched open the bakery door, stepped inside, and grabbed her. I am Tent the Ogre, boomed the creature, and I am borrowing this baker. Together, they disappeared into the weak light of dawn. Bart was greatly shaken. He sprinted up to the castle and informed Circumference and Lady Di. Pia? Gone? Where? Asked Circumference incredulously. We must search for her immediately, exclaimed Lady Di. I might have an idea of how to find her, Bart said. We'll follow the trail of fluff from the ogre's tunic. Meanwhile, Pia stood inside a manor house deep in the backcountry. 12 huge ogres surrounded her. What do you want? She asked. The smallest ogre replied, I am Decima. These are my parents, Tent and Hundred, and my 9 older siblings. Tonight, we're celebrating our 100th Jubilee as the gatekeepers of the bridge over the River Thames. We're preparing a feast, but we need help. Pia relaxed. Cooking I can do, she said. Point me to the kitchen. The place was in shambles. After tidying up, Pia assigned jobs to the ogres. Decima, you and I will make the dessert. Soon, the kitchen was a sizzling, simmering cloud of delicious aromas. Pia and Decima mixed 10 batches of crème de la crumb and poured them into immense square baking pans. When the first pans were cooling on the windowsill, Decima's oldest sister gobbled one down entirely. Heavenly, she declared. Una, cried Decima, you ate one whole batch. Tent was close behind. Such an ambrosial smell. May we share another? Here, father. Decima cut a second batch into 10 equal portions. I've named this size piece a tent, after you. Thank you, my little sugar plum, he said. Decima gave the pieces to her 2 parents and 8 older siblings. After Hundred had eaten her slice, she said, Oh, Decima, this is toothsome. Could we have some more to nibble on while we mash and mix our meal? Decima took a third tin and cut it into 10 tent-sized pieces. She cut each of those 10 pieces into 10 smaller, equal squares. Here are 100 hundred-sized morsels, named for you, she said, hugging her mother. What a thoughtful daughter, exclaimed Hundred. Decima and Pia baked more dessert to replace what the ogres had eaten. They soon had 10 pans of delicious crème de la crumb. Psst! Pia! Came a low voice from outside the kitchen window. Surprised, Pia and the ogres looked up from their work. Intruders! Bellowed Tent, rushing towards them. These are my friends, called Pia. Let's ask them to lend a hand. Enter, he roared joyfully. So, Circumference, Lady Di, and Bart, reassured that Pia was unharmed, climbed in and got to work. By late afternoon, all was ready. The ogre family changed into formal wear and joined their guests for the meal, while Pia and her team readied the desserts. How much on each plate? Asked Lady Di. I'm using Decima's system, slicing each whole pan into tent-sized pieces, answered Pia. Lady Di looked confused. Tents are 10 equal parts in a whole pan, the baker explained. Whump! Decima burst through the kitchen door. Everyone wants a dessert. We need 85 pieces, now! Delicious! Delicious! Raved the ogres, drumming their spoons on the dining tables. Good thing we have 10 batches, Lady Di said. That's 100 servings. Decima looked worried. We should have more pieces on hand for eager eaters. Then I shall cut one pan into hundreds, Pia decided. We better hurry, answered Circumference. They're going over the top. Will this be enough? Lady Di asked. 9 pans of tents is 9 times 10, or 90 pieces, figured Bart. Plus the 100 smaller pieces in the hundreds pan, piped up Lady Di. That's 190 portions, said Pia happily. With 85 ogres to serve, there is more than enough for everyone to have a bigger first piece and a smaller second helping. Bart peered out to the kitchen door. Uh-oh, uninvited guests have just landed in the rafters, he announced. Decima peeked out too. It's Talsander and his passel of 999 pesky pixies. They're sure to want dessert as well. We won't have enough unless the pixie helpings are smaller than hundreds, Decima reasoned. She took the hundreds pan and began to slice each of those 100 pieces into 10 very tiny but equal slivers. Little Talsander-sized bits, she said, smiling. 1,000 servings from one pan? That's hardly more than crumbs, said Pia. Decima shrugged. Pixies are very small. Frenzy's fist started pounding on the dining room side of the sturdy kitchen doors. Ignoring the ogre's antics, Lady Di said, I'm seeing a pattern to the Decima system. Every time we cut this dessert, we make it into pieces that are 10 times smaller. A tent is 10 times smaller than one whole. Bart nodded. 100 is 10 times smaller than one tent. And a Talsander is 10 times smaller than 100, exclaimed Circumference. Crack! The door exploded into splinters, and a wave of ogres flooded the kitchen while the pixies cheered from the rafters. In the melee, a good deal of Crème de la Crumb was flung across the room. Stunned, the ogres began to cry. Sweet treats were so important. Decima scolded them. See what you've done? Go sit in the dining room. We'll count what's left and share it among you. The ogres dried their tears and tried to wait patiently. Pia and her crew placed the remaining dessert on the head table. All right, said Decima, slipping on a clean apron. I'll begin the count. And I'll record it for you, offered Bart. We have one whole pan of tent-sized servings, announced Decima, and one more tent-sized piece in this next pan. The quill pen worked poorly, so Bart wrote only enough to record the count's accuracy. For pan, he used a tiny letter P. To the left of the P, he wrote the number of whole pans, and to the right, the number of pieces. "'Tis 5 tents in this one," counted Decima. Bart wrote P5. Decima continued, "and 2 tents in this pan." Bart wrote down P2. Decima said, "That's it, there's no more." The ogres held their breath as Bart added up what he had recorded. 1P1 plus P5 plus P2 is 1P8. For the ogre guests, he announced, there is 1 full pan of tents and 8 other tent-sized slices. That's 18 pieces, not nearly enough, one ogre cried as the rest of the guests moaned. But Decima had an idea. What if we cut them all into hundreds? Bart said, that would be 10 times more than the tents, so I'll add them as hundreds instead. He scribbled down 1P10 plus P50 plus P20 equals 1P80. We'd have 1 whole pan of hundreds plus another 80 hundreds. That's 180 small portions. That's enough for each ogre to have at least 2 small pieces. The ogres thumped their spoons approvingly on the tables as Decima began to slice tents into hundreds. But what about the pixies? Lady Di asked. Egods, we almost forgot their pan, said Circumference. Sadly, 1 piece of the 1,000 is missing. Bart took the parchment and recorded P999. Lady Di announced, there are 999 Talsander sliced slivers. faint buzzy crying could be heard as the wee folk realized one of them would get no dessert. "I'll give up my serving," said Towsander. "For your noble gesture," responded Decima, "have a leftover 100 piece." There had never been a finer Jubilee celebration dessert. As they left, Pia and her cooking crew received a rousing toast. "To Pia and sweet treats," cheered the ogres, hoisting their empty plates into the air. "Many thanks," she responded. "Come round to the bakery for a visit and some more crème de la crème."
So mathematicians, what did we learn today? We learned that 1/10 is one of 10 equal parts of one whole. 100th is one of 100 equal parts of one whole. 1,000th is one of 1,000 equal parts of one whole. We also learned that 1/10 is 10 times bigger than 100th, and 100th is 10 times bigger than 1,000th. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Goodbye, mathematicians!